So hello and welcome back to another episode of Geekified. You have got me, your host, Chris, one of your hosts, Chris, and we've also got Nathan today.
Hello.
So how are we all? I hope you had a really good weekend. At the weekend, we missed ComicCon. It didn't actually happen, given the dirty virus that we shall not be named, but we got ComicCon at home. So we got something completely different. We got the first ever Comic-Con you can actually have at home. So I'm not sure, again, with most of my episodes, the other hosts don't really know what we're talking about or discussing. So Nathan, did you catch any of Comic-Con?
I've watched, I saw a reasonable amount of it, and I've read a reasonable amount as well. Like I said last episode, I watched the boys panel. I watched a little bit of the... I always get to forget what it's called. The X-Men children one. The horror, what's it called? New Mutants?
The X-Men children one. Aye.
Sorry. I always forget what it's called. I always want to call it Inhumans, but I know it's not that. But
I know, yeah. The New Mutants.
Yeah, New Mutants. I watched a little bit of that, and I've been read a few stuff about the DC stuff. A little bit. So what we're going to do on this episode is we're just going to quickly run through and just go over a summary of the biggest news that came out of the weekend, just so we can have a quick discussion about it. So coming straight up on the top, which is the first one that came to my head when I was putting this together, was we got the first ever clip from Helstrom. So I think Nathan did it. You did see the clip, didn't you? I didn't see the clip, but I did read about it.
Right. So the first ever clip came from Helstrom. We'll run the clip on top of this and let people see the clip, and I'll put a link in the description of everything that we talk about today. So if you want to go and check out the clips or look at the news of what's happening, but we'll go over to the clip now and we'll catch up and we'll be right back to you in 1 sec.
There he is.
My boy.
Mommy, dearest. I know you set something loose on this world. What was it?
I think you know. No stone unturned.
My body is
This family's unnatural behavior. I've never experienced anything like it.
So we've just watched the clip. Nathan, what do you think?
Oh my goodness. That looks dark, man.
Yeah, so this one kind of played under the radar for quite some amount of time. There was a lot of discussions of whether or not it was happening, given everything that was happening with a lot of the TV shows like Daredevil, etc. around about that era, and it just disappeared under the radar. We knew it was happening. We knew there was news. We knew the cast. We knew that Sydney Lemon, Starfire performance when she played, oh God, I can't remember her name. She was in Fear the Walking Dead. Only in a few episodes, but absolutely memorable performance. And Tom Austin from the likes of the Royals popping up in this. So we knew those were going to be in it. We heard nothing, and then suddenly, whack, trailer. I am excited.
I'm surprised. I mean, it's because it's Marvel. Then they don't tend to do as much with other streaming services now. I'm quite surprised it's going to Hulu. But then maybe it was made before the sort of exclusivity thing. But I suppose it's not really one for Disney Plus by the looks of things.
No, I think this is going to follow a lot of the premise of it, which is very, very dark anyway. You've got a very, very strong kind of Constantine vibe from the show, from the 2010 film? 2005.
2005, yeah.
Yeah, I think 15 years. Funnily enough, there was a part in the Comic-Con with a 15-year anniversary of Constantine, which was really, really good. If you didn't catch that, I'll stick a wee link in the description of the video. But I'm really looking forward to this. I think this is going to be an absolutely excellent show. I'm glad they're going to go down the very dark vibes they've stayed clear from for quite some time.
I mean, the actress in there, the older actress, I always forget her. Is it Diane Lane? It looked a little bit like her, but it probably wasn't her. She looked a very different sort of role to what she normally plays. You know, very dark and, you know, moody, and no, I'm quite excited about that. It goes along the sort of darker, you know, looks almost horror, like you know, like horror thriller type thing, which is quite interesting.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I think this could be good. It reminded me a little bit of maybe a little bit of Legion as well, very similar to that.
Yeah, that was mad. I loved that film, Legion. I think it was
take out the quirky kind of dance numbers and stuff. I think that's what stripped back you would get that kind of Legion vibe from it. So definitely a winner. That is probably, without spoiling anything, it's a top winner for me from everything that came out of ComicCon. I've seen the rest, apart from if you've watched the previous review on The Boys. I think that's a clear winner for the majority of the Geekified team, let's say. So moving on to our second one, another interesting one, slightly off the cuff, a little bit different. We've got Archer renewed for season 7. Season 11 is coming. I don't know if anybody really catches up with it that much, but there was kind of a bit of a hiatus with Archer, with what happened. So it's a 3 month of him coming out of a coma is what they're going with. So it could be interesting giving up the spy game. It was always a very, very different show for me, Archer.
Yeah.
I think when they went to the island, it became a very, very different show altogether. I thought it was always going to be very much spy thriller kind of thing going on, and then it completely changed the dynamic by season 4, I think it was.
I think I'm up to about season 3, so I think I might have missed that.
Yeah, you'll get it. It comes up. It's a very, very huge shift in the kind of way that the show is made. The whole spy thing just kind of disappears. And it's more about the story of this group.
And so, I mean, watching it, the first few seasons anyway, it felt very much like, you know, South Park does James Bond almost.
Yeah. It's very crude, but it's very, very funny. And I think I've not watched the last season, so that's why I was a bit confused about the end. But I'm looking forward to it. I do love a bit of Archer. I think it's quite underrated. Given that it's got 11 seasons now, shows you how good.
I'm surprised. I thought it was like 4 or 5. I didn't realize it was 11.
Yeah. So it's super. So
I'll be my next binge watch then.
Yeah. Okay. So for me, that's definitely a good bit of news to come out. Banging on. Next one. Don't know where you are on this one, Nathan, but The Walking Dead had their panel. So it was basically a panel about The Walking Dead. It was more about a discussion of what's happening, given everything that's happening in the world just now, where they were getting with filming, etc. So we got news on the finale, we got news on The World Beyond, and we got news on what's going to happen in the next season. So it was all very interesting. How are you with The Walking Dead?
I'm one of these people where I keep trying to watch it, and parts of it annoy me. I mean, I got up to on the bit with the master, you know, with Thingy Morrissey and that camp.
Morrissey, the governor.
Morrissey, the governor, sorry, yeah. So I'm about there. I have read about it though. I mean, I was quite intrigued. I think I said to you before, I didn't realise that they were going to do a trilogy of Rick Grimes films, which I think, because he's far and away the best character in it all the way through. I know that he's obviously not in. I know that he's not in it anymore. But and Andrew Lincoln's a fantastic actor as well. So I'm quite excited. I would actually probably go and see them, even though I'm not that up to date with The Walking Dead. And I've never been. I read about The World Beyond, which actually sounds more like the sort of thing I would probably prefer to see.
So after a little bit of the footage was shown from The World Beyond, I'm going to go balls out and say I'm not interested.
All right.
So I was a huge Walking Dead fan, absolutely massive fan. I really, really enjoyed the show and really, really absolutely loved Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Fear the Walking Dead it was up until I think it was season 3, where we lost 2 of the main characters, and pretty much within 2 episodes, they lost it. They completely lost the entire concept of the show. They lost the fear, which is funny enough in the title. Everything scary about it, of what it was built up to be at that point, was completely it just wet the bed for me. But it got better. We had a season where it was really, really poor. Lenny James came in as Negan from The Walking Dead, and then we had it got a bit better after that. But they've decided to change about this. So they've decided to go from rather following these stories, they're following a more of an anthology, where it's going to be a lot more about the individual characters and their journey. So I don't really know where they're going to go with that.
That's interesting. I mean, I've never watched Fear the Walking Dead purely because I didn't like. I sort of gave up on The Walking Dead a little bit. One of these things I always planned to go back to, and I never really have. The reason I didn't watch it was the whole, when they start fighting, everyone just starts shouting and screaming at each other. And it just started to annoy me. And then I thought that a lot of very annoying characters in it. The first couple of seasons, Rick Grimes' wife was very annoying. What was the Asian character? What was his name again? Who was going out with a girl from the farm? What? Yeah, I didn't think. I thought he was quite a poor character as well.
Yeah.
But I have heard that as it goes on, you get sort of good season, not so great season, good season, not so great season.
Very much. I think when Angela Kang took over, when she took over, and that was the last couple of seasons, when she took over, it was a different show. It just went back to its original, just peak level TV show. It was excellent.
I mean, Jeffrey Dean Morgan in it is a massive plus as well. I think he's fantastic in just about everything he does.
The guy,
even go back to films like The Losers, which I thought was phenomenal. Obviously, Watchmen, he was phenomenal in that. The other things I've seen him in, he's just always.
He was even in, not even a big part. He was in Rampage with The Rock, and he stole the show.
That's what I was trying to remember. The other one I saw recently with him.
Yeah, he just walks about, swaggers in a suit, and you're like, suddenly you're like. He's like the guy's incredible, and he's very, very good in Negan. We obviously had Negan versus Alpha recently. So if anyone's seen that, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. That was a bit brutal, but So obviously the World Beyond. I mean, I'll stick up a picture of the kind of the art they've done for it. I'll put a link to the clip, and I might try and stick a wee bit here. We can show you a little bit some of the clips. It just doesn't seem interesting. It seems as if they're going along the YA novels. You know what I mean? It's like very Hunger Games-y, but not in a good way. Just seems as if they're appealing to kids now.
I didn't see clips. I was just reading about it, and I thought it sounded quite interesting. But maybe I'll watch a few clips now and try and form a more of an opinion whether I'll watch it or not. Is that going to be on Amazon as well, or AMC, or is it?
I think they're all still running on AMC. They're both coming in October. So you're going to get the season of World Beyond in October. Not my biggest news. I'm more interested in getting to the finale of The Walking Dead, which is obviously sadly or majorly delayed, but nothing you can do about that. If any fans are angry about them not getting to see that, then have a look outside the window and see what's going on. There's a reason things are delayed. It's not just because production or people don't know what they're doing. It's a big problem.
Yeah.
So next one we're going to go on one you've already talked about. We're going to talk about the New Mutants. Have I ever known a film to be pushed back and pushed back and pushed? No. And it's a shame because it looks fantastic. I mean, it's the last production that we're going to get from Fox. How much have you caught up on that, and what do you know about that, Nathan?
Like I said, I watched a little bit of the panel because I was waiting for the boys one to come on afterwards. So that's quite interesting. There's a couple of, obviously, because obviously Maisie Williams is quite a well-known star now. I think if it had come out when it was supposed to, 2.5 years ago, she wasn't as, obviously because Game of Thrones was big, but it wasn't as big as it was towards the last couple of seasons. So I think it would have been a cast. If you look at the cast now, they've all moved on a bit, and a few of the they're quite sort of burgeoning stars. But I thought it looked quite interesting. I mean, I've read quite a bit about it, saying that it's going to be much more down, a bit like Helstrom in a way, much more down the sort of horror type vibe to it. I think it's going to be, although it's about obviously younger X-Men types, it's going to be a much more adult film than the X-Men films. But not in a sort of Deadpool way, but I think more of in a Logan way, but probably a bit more, not quite as cool as Logan, because it's quite difficult to be as cool as that film. But
it'd be very hard to be as cool. Any movie that can put a black and white version of their film out,
and it looked even better.
Yeah, don't know. James Mangold, I salute you. You are legend of filmmaking, and just always can't wait for your next project. So you mean like you've got a couple of quite interesting characters we've not actually seen in New Mutants. We haven't seen in any of the films so far. You've got Sunspot, which I think, off the top of my head, I think he did appear in the background of one of the X-Men films. I don't think he was really used. I'm sure he did appear. But you've got Magic as well, played by Anya Taylor-Joy. Mm-hmm. Now, Anya Taylor-Joy is amazing. What an actress. Yeah. So her to come out and do a mutant, I think, is going to be, you have to have if you've got that sort of pull as an actress of just having that presence, and if you're taking on a mutant who, I mean, she's a very, 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 you call it kind of fantasy style mutant. She plays magic, and she can put a spell on her arm, and she can just the power level of her is incredible. So getting to see that, you have to have a really, really good actor. It's like who else would have played Thanos?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you couldn't think of anybody. I think that's the same casting someone like Magic and the X-Men. It's like there's only very few people who can play her. Uh-huh. But
I'm quite excited for. I mean, I was quite disappointed with Dark Phoenix when I watched it, which is obviously the last big X-Men film from Fox. I thought it was just obviously not giving up, but not far off giving up, and just put up there quite a poor film. But I think this one looks like it. I don't know. I mean, you'll probably know more than me. Did the Marvel Studios have anything to do with it, the release at all, or is it just Fox?
This was Fox. So this is Fox's last production. We don't know, as far as I'm aware, from everything I can see online or I have heard, there is no meddling at all. Okay. But, I mean, it's like Marvel may have came in and maybe changed the edit, added things, put things back that Fox maybe would have not wanted or not had. So chances are we'll probably get a better version, given that Marvel has now came on board.
And I believe that it's pretty much confirmed for release end of August as well, isn't it?
Yeah, so that was the big news. So it's definitely coming out. That's it. It's done. It's 100% done and dusted. They've got the date and they're releasing it, which is great.
31st of August, I think. I
think off the top of my head, yeah, it's not that far away. I mean, we're not even in August yet, so you're a month and we've got an amazing superhero film coming out, regardless of what's happening. Never mind that we're still waiting on Tenet.
Week before, maybe.
God, I've never been more desperate to see a film in my life.
I'm the same.
Oh my God, it just burns me inside to get to see this film. Yeah. Also, another bit of news that came out, obviously, is one we've already done practically a whole episode about, so we're going to skip past it. It's The Boys. If you're wanting to listen to us talk a whole lot of rubbish and just get geeky and excited and scream, just check the last channel. I'll put a title on at the end of this so you can go back and watch it. But it was an enjoyable chat we all had about The Boys.
The boys have made me want to Chris. The boys have made me want to start a Funko Pop collection.
That says it, you know what I mean? We actually joke in it saying that we couldn't. I never knew there was a Boys Funko yet, and it turns out there is. So that's me lost about 100 quid. Next bit of news, really, really fantastic news. A little bit of throwback for people my age and Nathan's age. Bill and Ted is back. Bill and Ted Face the Music. And I'll be, like I says, I'm always very honest on these reviews when we're here. When I seen the first trailer released about maybe a month and a half ago, 2 months, I was a wee bit worried.
No, man.
You not?
No, right. Obviously we were young, maybe teenagers, well, probably even younger than that for you, when the first Excellent Adventure came out, and then obviously Bogus Journey was a few years later. I'll be honest with you, they were terrible films. They were fantastic, but they were terrible. You know what I mean? One of those films that
I get you, yeah.
I love them, but they're cheesy. They're not great films. They're just enjoyable nonsense. And that I was watching it thinking, this just looks like more enjoyable nonsense.
Yeah.
But I have no problem with that. As long as, I mean, the most bizarre thing for me is that Keanu Reeves is obviously trying to look like he was younger, and he does a decent job. Alex Winters, exactly the same. He looks exactly the same.
I've actually got that. I've got that in my notes. I actually had that in my notes to talk about. It was like, what is Alex Winters? Alex Winters, what is your secret, dude? Like, what have you been doing the last 20 odd years?
Maybe he did Bogus Journey and they froze him. Hasn't he done much since?
It's like they're like, there's going to be a horrible event that happens in 2020. We need to unfreeze Alex.
I think Keanu Reeves is at the stage in his career at the moment, particularly where, you know, he's possibly the coolest star in Hollywood at the moment. I think if it hadn't been a decent script, and if he wasn't going to be happy with what they were doing with those the very iconic characters, I don't think he would have done it.
Yeah, I agree.
He's got that power now, I think, in Hollywood, where you can just say that's not good enough for those characters.
Yeah, I very much agree. The power that he's got now is quite big.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't even say power because he's not that type of person. I wouldn't even associate the word power with him. It's his pull, the pull that he's got.
I don't think he would do something just for the sake of it. I think 10, 15 years ago he probably would have. But I think now, I don't think he'll, because he's got very much got a, I hate to use the word brand because he's not that sort of guy either, but he's got a brand and it's got to be a cool film. He's got to, you know, even that Netflix comedy, Always Be My Maybe, he was in himself. It's fantastic. He almost steals the film just by being an exaggerated version of a Hollywood star. I mean, just anything he's in at the moment, he's just fantastic. I think.
That film was really, really good. And even if you take Keanu Reeves, it was a great film. But having Keanu Reeves in it just makes it. It was like a diamond on top of that film.
The scene when in the restaurant and they're inhaling that stuff. I don't think I've ever laughed so hard. Yeah.
It was on Twitter. We did on Twitter the bit when he walks in and the music plays over the top. Was it In Excess or was that? It might have been the one that they put on Twitter, but they kept putting different music over the top of Keanu Reeves walking in the restaurant. It was. Go back on Twitter if you can find it. It's great. I'll find a good one and I'll put that in a link as well.
I love it.
So I mean, Bill and Ted is. I mean, I couldn't have asked for anything more. I was a huge Bill and Ted fan. It's a cult classic for most people, and we're getting a new one with a full team. Majority of people who were involved in it. So I am more than looking forward to it.
And I think that's going to be a theatre and video on demand release simultaneous, I believe.
Yes. So this is what they announced as well. We're basically going to be. It's going to be video on demand. So it will be released in any theatres that are open and accessible, but it's also going to be video on demand, which is fantastic. That's really, really good news. So just make sure any cheeky people who use popcorn time and stuff, if you really, really enjoy these films and you look at it, don't use it. Pay it. Pay like $3.99 to rent the film. Pay for a tenner. Otherwise, we're not going to get good content anymore, and people are just going to end up with a lot of rubbish. Sorry, that's my rant over. So Bill and Ted, huge thumbs up. Probably number 2 for me out of everything it's been today.
I really liked it. The newest trailer, I thought it made it look even better as well. The bit where they're in hell dancing and stuff like that, and I was like,
absolutely sold it for me. It's not even amazing graphics that's in it. It doesn't look great graphics, but that's what makes the Bill and Ted's Adventures. You know what I mean?
They've made it like that on purpose, I think.
Oh yeah, 100%. Next up, one I don't actually know a lot about because I haven't watched it. So if Nathan hasn't watched it, this is going to be a very, very quick review. His Dark Materials?
No, I haven't watched it. It's one of the ones I've on my list, but I haven't watched it.
Cool.
Supposed to be amazing.
Yeah, so we've got season 2 trailer. I'll stick that in a link as well. Other than that, we know nothing about it. We'll maybe come back and do a review on season 1 and 2 when it's done. But really short review. Next one. Next we've got up. So this panel was a really interesting panel because part of probably one of my unpopular opinions, but I won't go into that just now. Maybe you look forward to that. So Star Trek, the panel happened. It was the universe of Star Trek. It wasn't solely about one individual show or anything. They were discussing the new animated series Lower Decks. They were discussing Discovery, Picard. Section 31 was brought up. So there was a whole world of all these different shows. So it was a really interesting panel to get the discussions of where they got and on board with everything, how everything happened. It was really good. So how were you on a lot of these productions? Have you seen any of them?
I'm not a big Star Trek man. I was Next Generation was my favourite one. I've not watched a huge amount of the other ones. I've obviously watched the new films, obviously. And I've watched, I think, the first 3 episodes of Picard. Yeah. Which I was quite enjoying. It was getting a bit slow, so I stopped watching it. But it did. It got fantastic reviews and stuff, and I'm a massive Patrick Stewart fan, and pretty much anything he does now. If people haven't seen the Netflix film Green Room, if you're over the age of 18, I would definitely recommend it.
Bit brutal,
but a short time he steals the film.
Yeah, bit brutal, but it's a very good film. So the whole world of Star Trek, I think, is really interesting where they're going with it. Again, it's probably the right time to do it. You've got Strange New Worlds, which is following Anson Mount's captain, which is going to be off on a tangent from most of the shows. But then the biggest tangent that we're going to get is Discovery Season 3, where they go 9,500 years into the future at the end of the last season.
I did read a little bit about that. So that sounded quite interesting, I thought.
Yeah.
Because obviously Star Trek is set, I think it's 23rd century?
23rd century, yeah.
So
I think this is going to be interesting of how they do it, and I hope they do it well. And I've really, really got my hopes up for it, because it's basically resetting a lot of what used to be Star Trek. How do we make Star Trek current, fresh, different? How do we reset everything so we don't need to see the same thing again? 9,500 years in the future will do it. You know what I mean? So,
who's making that show?
What TV show? What TV station? I think it's. Oh, I don't know actually. Because they're all on different platforms.
Yeah, I know. That's what will be interesting, because
whatever it is, I'll put right here.
I think depending on who makes it, it'll be what the tone of the show is. If it goes, because obviously you've got in the States anyway, you've got obviously NBC have Peacock now.
Yeah.
So if it's something like that, it'll be much more sort of family friendly. If it goes to something like Amazon or Netflix or Hulu even, or HBO Max, now it's getting a lot of stuff. You never know, that'll be much more probably edgy and more adult orientated. I think that'll change the dynamic of the show quite considerably.
Yeah, well, Discovery anyway was really good. I really enjoyed Discovery when they brought the season when they brought Spock into it. Was fantastic. I mean, very, very good. I'm so happy we're getting to see Spock again following Strange New Worlds, because he'll be on that ship with Anson Mount's captain. So yeah, Star Trek's a really, really good one for me. I'm interested. I'm really looking forward to it. There's a lot of shows coming. You know what I mean? We've got, as it says, you've got Section 31, you've got Discovery Season 3, Strange New Worlds, Lower Decks, and then the other cartoon I can't remember, which I'll put here. So it's a really, really good announcement. So I was really happy with that. Jumping on to the next one, and I believe Nathan was the person who pointed this out to me until I'd seen this, is Amazon Prime's new series from Nick Frost and Simon Pegg, Thrift Seekers.
Yeah. I thought maybe the Nick Frost, Simon Pegg thing had been done to death a bit when they did that, what's it called, the Alien one with Seth Rogen. Yeah, I didn't think that was very good. But I'm quite excited after watching the trailer for this. I think it looks pretty good. Yeah,
it feels as if with Paul, maybe they jumped a wee bit too deep.
Too American.
Yeah, when they're not like that. It's like Simon Pegg's American accent. Don't do it. Just don't do it, man.
The only worst one is Gerard Butler's out the side of his mouth.
Don't get me started with Gerard Butler's American accent. He is Sean Connery Part 2.
Yeah.
So
I thought I'm really interested. This one looks quite intriguing to me. Like I said, I watched the trailer. I liked it, and I quite like. Because don't get me wrong, the Cornetto trilogy I loved. The Simon Pegg and Nick Frost stuff. I thought all those films were really good. Very funny. I like the way obviously they're major geeks, like us. But I like the way they managed to get in, some sort of supernaturally type stuff as well. And that's what I'm quite intrigued about this, because it's probably going to be very geeky, and there's probably going to be 1,000 references to other supernatural films in it and TV shows. And that's what I'm going to sit and try and spot them as I'm watching it. Yeah.
I think that would be really, really interesting, because I don't know. I have never ever watched a film so many times, and that's Shaun of the Dead. And this is it's pretty much the same for Hot Fuzz as well. I've never watched these films, and then for so many times that I've watched it, I keep seeing a joke that I've never seen. And you've got the layers of the jokes just keep stacking and stacking. So give these two guys a TV series. I think these guys are going to be amazing.
I was a massive fan of Spaced. As well. Have they got is Edgar Wright directing as well, or are they not?
I don't think so. I don't think he's got any involvement in it. If I'm incorrect, I'll put it somewhere and apologise, but I don't think he is.
Sorry, just a very quick one. If any of you guys out there were Scott Pilgrim versus the World fans, I would recommend watching on YouTube the table read they did the week before ComicCon. I know it's not really do ComicCon, but fantastic hour and 20 minutes of your life to spend.
Yeah, oh, definitely. It's a good. I've not actually seen that. I did see it when I was going through all the Comic-Con stuff. I did see it. I just never got time to sit. But I'm a massive fan of that film as well, so I probably will go back. Chris Evans is the best thing in that film. Full stop.
And he's on that table read. He did one of the.
Oh, did he do? Oh, wow.
Alison Pill did. Michael Cera, Anna Kendrick. Most of the big ones. Only a couple that didn't. Brandon Ruth. Turns out wearing his number 3 T-shirt and wristbands.
Alison Pill was in Picard. She's great in that.
Yeah, she's a good. She's
very, very good. Very good. And again, one of those actresses is just incredibly underused as well.
Very good in Devs as well.
Devs. I watched that. If anyone gets that, watch Devs. Devs is incredible. I mean, like, stupidly good. Yeah. So we're going to jump to our next one. I'm not sure if Nathan will have seen this before I bring it up. So we are going to go jump to a clip and we'll be right back and we're going to discuss it.
What have you done today to earn your place in this crowded world?
Utopia is a story about a rogue scientist who created biological warfare.
You have no idea what the end of the world's going to bring. French cut string beans aren't going to save anybody.
Everything in Utopia is real.
Basement scientist inserts himself into viral pandemic.
We were told not to raise interest.
Things are getting dangerous.
It shouldn't be long now.
We all have our purpose. This is yours.
So, we just watched it. Hope you paused and jumped over to it as well. Excited?
Yes. Quite an apropos thing as well. It seems a bit, pandemic-y and stuff like that as well.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're hitting close to home. Obviously, when the British Utopia, God, I can't remember his name. I'm going to be really rude and pull it up on my phone because I can't remember his name. He was in the version on Channel 4 in the UK. He's great. Neil Maskell, very good actor.
Guy was in Kill List and Football Factory and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't get me started on Kill List. I will actually fall out with anybody. Honestly, come at me. Anybody in the comments who wants to discuss Kill List with me, come at me. Come at me, bro. Come at me, bro.
Yeah.
What a horrible film. Anyway, that's not what we're here for. Slightly diverge off subject. That's Nathan.
Good actor, though. He's a good actor, that guy.
Yeah, that's called Nathan triggering you. So go back to Utopia. So you're looking at the kind of the pandemic side of it, and is it going to feel a wee bit too close to home?
Yeah. I'm quite annoyed actually when just before the New Mutants panel, it was the panel for this, and I turned it on. I didn't realize what it was, and I didn't watch it.
Yeah.
And I sort of wish I had now. John Cusack going back to do a good role, which is he hasn't had a good decent one for a while. And I used back in the day, and I loved him and things like High Fidelity and stuff like that. He was an amazing actor.
It's not exactly a comedy role, you know what I mean? This is a dark. I think there's an element of comedy I think is going to be involved in the show, but because the British one was, but I think Americans do tend to give a bigger budget and do everything a bit bigger than we do over here. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think this is going to be good.
Excited by Rainn Wilson as well. He's a great actor. I mean, not just The Office. I mean, if you haven't seen the film The Super,
yeah,
the sort of kick-ass type film with Kevin Bacon as the bad guy. That's an amazing film as well, and he's awesome in that.
Yeah, I think it's going to be. I think that'll be a belter. I think that'll be definitely a memorable one by the looks of it. Cool. Give a thumbs up from us for that one.
Definitely. They're going to have a couple of good shows coming up. You're going to have that, The Boys, and the Simon Pegg and the Thrift Seekers. That'll be a good lineup for autumn.
What I will say is you could have released this all 3 months ago when we were absolutely bored at our tits. Just saying. Could have brought out a lot of shows, people. Constant viewership as well. Constant viewership. Next, we're going to a show that I have already watched, and we're basically discussing season 2. It's a TV show with Robbie Amell called Upload. Have you caught any of that?
I haven't watched it yet. It's another one that I think I actually said to you about it, and I never watched it myself. It looked a bit like the episode of Black Mirror.
San Junipero.
San Junipero. I was going to say San Bernardino, but I knew that was wrong. So that's quite interesting, because I know that there was talk at one point about them doing a TV show based on that episode, like a spin-off. I don't know if that's where the embryonic ideas come from, but no, I thought it looked quite interesting. I've watched a few trailers and I've read a bit about it, and it sounds pretty good.
So I put it on. I watched the first episode. I didn't particularly like it. So I thought it was a bit cheesy, but then it became one of those shows that I'll just watch the next episode.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll watch the next episode. Before you know it, I'd binge watched the whole season. And by the time it got to the end of the season, do you know what? I freaking loved it. I actually really enjoyed it. It was the comedy of it was very, very daft, a bit silly, very light-hearted. Feels like a kind of, like a kind of rom-com-y kind of style comedy. But it also reminded me of The Good Place as well, which I was a huge fan of. So Good Place is gone. This could be the replacement for it. Very similar story, obviously being uploaded into your consciousness, being uploaded into a computer. So kind of a separation of your mind from reality, which is kind of what The Good Place is kind of like, except heaven and hell. It's very good. I'll highly recommend it to anyone who wants to watch it. Very enjoyable. Next, one that you've probably not watched. I just want to discuss why it's getting another season is probably the more the point I want to make on this. Van Helsing.
The TV show?
Yeah.
Well, I thought the film was terrible, so I never watched the TV show.
Yeah, so the TV show came, and it's, for lack of a better word, pish.
Yeah.
If anyone doesn't know that, if anyone in the US is watching this, pish just means rubbish. Yeah. I'm sure you guessed that.
Yeah.
It's getting moments of greatness. I've watched all the way up until, I've watched season 1. I watched most of season 2. And again, it was one of those shows that I just kind of wanted to power through because I just kept watching it. Just wanted to see what happened. And to be honest, I thought it would be done. I thought it would be finished. I thought it would be over, and it's not. It's still going. So that's season 4 coming. I'm not going to watch it.
It must be getting viewers somewhere.
It's getting viewers. Not something.
They've been quite brutal with some of the shows they're cutting at the moment. So I would think it must be making some money or getting decent viewership.
It's got to be, because if they cut shows, which Netflix, anyone at Netflix ever watches this, for the OA, cannot believe you took that show away from me, away from everybody. A girl nearly starved herself to death outside your office because you took it away. You didn't even give it a final episode or season. Anyway, I'll fucking try to keep going on. Van Helsing, I don't get the point of it. I don't understand it. It's not good. It's not a great story. They've just managed to, it's as if they're stretching it for me. And I think it's an absolute waste of time.
Yeah. So, like I said, I never watched the show because I thought the film was terrible, so I never watched it.
Yeah, so just a recommendation of my one Geekified team member. Don't watch it, it's rubbish. Next up, we have another one that we're talking about on a kind of strange, kind of perplexed reason of what's happening to it. Vikings. Ever watched Vikings?
Yeah, first season I've watched.
Okay, so we're on season 6 now, but it's moving its channel. So they're not, basically they're doing a prequel to Vikings, and it's going to move from History Channel. Is that correct?
Not sure.
I didn't actually write it down. I think it's the History Channel. If I'm wrong, correct me. They're going to move, the last season will still be on the History Channel, but the prequel will be moving to Netflix.
I did notice that there's a program called Norseman on Netflix at the moment, which looks like
that, and it's on season 3, and I've never seen anything about it.
Yeah, it must look like a very similar sort of show.
I know Norseman's a comedy. Vikings is not a comedy.
Yeah, I know. Well,
not a comedy.
It's actually my dad's favourite show.
Vikings. Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm Walking Dead, so he's obviously got far better taste than me.
So it was more about a discussion. I was curious as to why they're moving it over. That was the weird thing.
It might, you never, because there's been that's happened a few times recently, though, hasn't it? Where shows they've been stopped by one channel and somebody else has taken them up. So it must be to do with that. Because that's happened with Brooklyn Nine-Nine, wasn't it? In the end, it was off at NBC and went to
the shortest lived cancellation ever.
2 days.
2 days. That was mental. Anyway, so that's moving to Netflix. So the main announcement for that was its change of channel. It's getting another season, but it's a prequel and it's also changing its channel. Strange announcement. I don't really think they needed to do it at ComicCon.
It's going to Netflix, would suggest a bigger budget, so
possibly.
That might be a reason for it. Maybe the showrunner want to do things that History Channel couldn't afford.
Yeah. Cool. So on to our next one. This is a big one for me. I'm really, really interested. I don't know if you've seen this, Nathan. So we are going to jump and put a clip on from it while we watch it, and we're right back after this. And you're going to watch Lovecraft Country.
What's that book you've been reading about?
It's about heroes who get to go on adventures, defeat the monsters, and save the day. Little boy from the south side of Chicago, the only tourist to get to do that. This story is about my father and the secret birthright that's been kept from us. You going after it. We're gonna need a car.
You just gonna stand there, Tick?
This is family business, and families stay together.
Scared for myself.
Just because they don't want you here doesn't mean you're not supposed to be.
Gotta get away.
This is an invitation to unmitigated power.
Where in the hell did I go wrong with you, boy? I told you to stay away from that damn place.
There's something here that's trying to get out.
Everything is where and as it should be, from God to man to creature. We're surrounded by monsters. I'm doing this to protect us.
You can't win this game that is setting up for you to play.
This legacy belongs to our family.
We gotta face this new world and stake our claim in it.
This is our family story.
We're back.
Oof.
I know.
Oof.
So you're talking a production who forgot his bloody name already. Bad Robot, that's J.J. Abrams' Bad Robot production. 99% of the stuff that comes out of Bad Robot is usually epic. And you've got Ben Stevenson and Jordan Peele as executive producers, so
all right,
going to be good. And from that trailer, that trailer's fantastic. That trailer is got the old kind of this girl traveling across 1950s America and the kind of Jim Crow era.
Yeah,
it's shot perfectly. It looks stunning.
It had a bit of a Watchmen feel to it, I thought.
Yeah.
And I always forget the actor's name, the guy that played Omar in The Wire. I think he's a fantastic actor, so quite excited to see him in it. Actually, it looks pretty mental, actually. It's like, it started off as it seemed like a sort of, 50s race relations, civil rights type thing, and then it turned into this completely different thing.
I know. It looks excellent. I mean, like the monsters look absolutely terrifying. The story looks great. Everything about it just looks as if it's going to be absolutely.
I'm really surprised I haven't heard of that, because it looks like quite a big production. I normally hear about these HBO ones quite early on. I've not even heard of the name before. But I'll be looking out for that towards the end of August.
Yeah, so this is what happens, people, when you don't have to pay for Game of Thrones. You get lots of really good TV shows.
Well, I don't know. I think the Westworld budget must have been fairly humongous. So.
Oh yeah, no. Well, let's not stop that. I'm a massive Westworld fan, so I don't want to see that stop anytime soon.
Yep.
And then finishing off on our last one, we do have to go to a clip again. I'm pretty sure Nathan hasn't seen this one. I've watched the trailer, and we'll be right back after this.
Vic.
I've made a lot of terrible mistakes in my life, and shacking up with you was just not one of them.
Whoa! Who's Charlie Makes?
What'd you just say?
Charlie Makes. He's on the TV.
I'm the one who's supposed to kill him. Your towel said so, Maggie.
My tiles said you'd find him.
I didn't finish the job.
Wait. Rain!
Mr. Banks, you're awake.
Get the gas, baby. And to load up the wraith. Hello, young lady.
There's a cost for everything.
I'm just trying to protect my son.
He knows where we are, Vic.
I'm gonna kill him once and for all.
It's time for you to close your eyes and dream of
Christmas land.
Nah.
Well, we're back after watching season 2's trailer for Nosferatu. Yep, so it still doesn't do anything for me. There's moments of really, really nice shots. There's the moments of kind of tension getting built, but I'm sorry, it just doesn't sell anything to me. It's this mismatched.
That trailer reminded me of the 7th film in a horror movie series.
Yeah.
You know, Friday the 13th, part 26 or something. That's the sort of feel it had about it. I mean, it had Spock in it, so it might be. He's normally a pretty good actor, but
yeah,
not for me, that one.
I don't think I'm going to go back. I watched 2 episodes of the first season, and it just felt like a messy, didn't really know what it wanted to be production. So I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, no. Every other trailer we watched today, we can't be accused of being moany bees as we have been in the past.
Grumpy old men.
But that one, won't be watching.
Yeah, no, I'm not feeling it. We've got a lot to watch in the next few months, so I think that's one that I'll be staying clear of. I'm afraid that's an official thumbs down from me.
Definitely, me too.
So we are done. Thanks, Nathan.
No bother.
We've done our ComicCon at home summary. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you enjoyed the clips. I'm going to leave clips of everything in the links in the bottom if you want to go and watch any of them again. I'll also link you to some of the panels, and I'll pop up a couple of tiles for our previous video, which was on The Boys. And our next video is going to be awesome, only because we're all massive fans of it, and I don't see what they could possibly do to get it wrong. But Umbrella Academy will be out, and we will be doing a review, and we're all huge fans, so they could literally film Klaus for an hour each episode, and I'd probably still say it was good.
Yeah.
So we'll have a massive breakdown, and we'll be discussing all of Umbrella Academy for our next episode. But thank you very much. Please hit like and subscribe. I'm begging you. It'll help us continue to make productions in the future, and also stay up for the Funko Pop competition, which is coming up next. We can do this all day.
Cheers, guys. Bye.